Where's that? Oh, there. Okay. Right.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Monday, March 1st, public meeting of the Board of Garrett County Commissioners. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us on Facebook Live. First order of bill, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Knoll, are there any additions, corrections, or changes to the public meeting agenda?
No, sir, there are not.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to adopt the meeting agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion second, agenda approved by mutual consent. Everybody got a copy of the minutes in advance of the meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, changes to the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion and second, minutes are approved by mutual consent. We got Mr. Knoll. Very first item on the agenda, we do have with us today, as usual, Bob Stevens with the Garrett County Health Department for COVID-19 update. Bob, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us again. What do you have for us?
Good afternoon. Well, first of all, I know that everybody's goal is to get back to normal as soon as possible. But I also have to caution people that we have to be very cautious and go slow in order to go fast. We do want, the goal of everyone is to get back to some semblance of what life was like before COVID. Currently, we have 1,844 cases so far have been recorded in Garrett County. There have been 60 deaths. Our positivity rate is 3.14, so it's virtually where it was about 2 weeks ago, which is in a very good range. Our case rate is exactly what it was 2 weeks ago, 4.43. And so we've had 11 cases in the last that have been recorded in Garrett County in the last 10 days. And that's significant because when we have lower numbers like that, we're able to stay on top of them pretty good. But as they go up, then it makes it more difficult. As I know that all of you know that schools are getting back just this week, really, and we're going to be working with the school system to make sure that that it's as safe as possible and that we can keep those kids in school, because that makes a really huge impact on the community. I just want to say a couple of things, because we do know that the virus is continuing to circulate in Garrett County, not like it was a few months ago, but it's lower now, but it is continuing to circulate. And so because of that, we still need to take a lot of precautions. One of the things I'd really like to emphasize, and if we can get out to the community, is that testing is still so important, especially those people who are traveling outside of Maryland and specifically outside the contiguous states that are around Maryland. So if somebody's going to Florida or New York or California, they should be tested. It's still a requirement, actually, to be tested within 2 days of coming back to Maryland and to quarantine until they get that test. We still have the testing available, and the hours are 9 to 3 at the Medco building in McHenry, and then we also do some testing here at the health department, but it is by appointment. So people have to call here to get an appointment. The testing in McHenry is drive-through, and so it's pretty easy to just go there and get your test. One of the things that you may hear is that there are a lot of different variants that are coming out, and there's the Great Britain, and there's the one in South Africa and Brazil, but there's some homegrown in the U.S. like New York and California. And so it's really important that we stay on top of these, because some of these, there are lots of mutations that happen with this virus, but the ones that there are only a few, very, very few, that actually fall into that category of being more contagious or perhaps more deadly. And so we need to stay on top of this with our testing and with our vaccine efforts and everything that people are doing. in order to make sure that we tamp this down and continue to have these good numbers in Garrett County. At this point, for vaccine, we have vaccinated 18.2% of the population. And we're continuing, the health department's continuing to receive 300 new doses a week. We have partners in the community. Walmart gets shipments, so does Walgreens in Grantsville and in Oakland. Mountain Laurel receives vaccine, and then Garrett Regional has vaccine for its staff and for some of their discharges into long-term care. The state is also planning a mass vaccination clinic in Hagerstown. One of the new developments is that we are received notification today that we'll be receiving 100 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. That's also referred to as the Janssen vaccine, so it's the same one. And that there are some real advantages to that, but it is different. It is a single dose. It's easier for us to handle as the health department, or perhaps I would anticipate that in the later on in the spring, most of the doctor's offices will have that because they'll be able to store it and keep it. It is effective in preventing serious illnesses and death. There's some of the, it's not easy to compare that vaccine to other vaccines because of the fact that it was tested in different places. So it was tested actually in South Africa and in Brazil. And so some of the numbers on it are not quite as good as the other numbers from the Moderna vaccine that we have. But I'd like to compare that to somebody that says, well, here's a baseball player who's in the minor leagues and he's batting 300. Well, you know, the Johnson & Johnson is like somebody that's in the major leagues and they're batting 200, 250 because they don't have quite as good a batting average, but they've been exposed during the clinical trials to many more different variants. And so it's only natural that they might not be quite show that it's quite as effective. So what people need to know is that as soon as you're available to get a vaccine, get the vaccine. You do have some choice. Some of the Johnson & Johnson is going to become available here soon. Again, it's just one dose is all that's required. And then the other things is, as usual, at this point, we're continuing, even with the weather breaking, we're still in that phase where we want people to avoid, social gatherings, wear face covering, and all those types of things. We're hoping that there's going to be some positive outcomes with this. Most importantly, if you're sick, stay home, get tested. And then let other people know if you test positive. That's what's really important. So, does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Bob? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much, Bob. As usual, appreciate everything you're doing and for keeping us updated at our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is proclamation for Women's History Month, March 2021. And I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, and then we'll have some comments from Lisa Thayer Welsh on that as well. Women's History Month proclamation. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation, state, and county in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, social roles in every sphere of life by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas American women have played a unique role throughout history by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation, particularly in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation. And whereas American women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas despite these contributions, the role of American women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Garrett County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim March 2021 to be Women's History Month, signed by the order of Commissioner Heimball, Tichenor, and myself as chairman. Mrs. Welsh, I see you with us.
Yes,
Would
sir.
you like to make some comments, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, commissioners. I'm here today in my role as the chair of the Garrett County Commission for Women. You'll see that some of our other commissioners have been able to join us. Erin Ruth Natividad serves currently as our secretary. Sadie Liller serves currently as our vice chair. Caroline Blizzard is one of our commissioner members. We are pleased to be here today. I would just generally remind the commissioners and those who are watching this meeting that the mission of the Garrett County Commission for Women is to promote a positive image of women, advise county government, advance solutions, and serve as a county-wide resource to promote social, political, and economic equality for women. I believe it's been some time since we had a presentation to the commissioners. BJ Gallagher was the past chair of the commission, I believe, that you last heard from. So just a little update. In 2019, we did continue with our annual Hall of Fame breakfast, at which we awarded scholarships to 5 Garrett County women, generally to further their education. And we also helped to award the Maureen R. Sharp Scholarship, which is through the Tucker County Foundation, a $5,000 scholarship to a deserving woman pursuing a degree in education or a related field. And we also inducted folks into our Hall of Fame. We held a strategic planning session to update our mission statement, our goals and objectives. We talked about various ways we could expand our roles into the community. For 19, we voted to support the efforts of the AAUW Garrett County branch and other organizations to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Much of that work was supposed to happen in 2020 and has been put off in large part, the celebration by the coronavirus, of course, but we're going to have more things in 2021. We continued in 2020 and did award scholarships in Garrett County, including the four of the general scholarships, as well as the Maureen R. Sharp Scholarship. In 2019, we initiated a new award called a Woman of Tomorrow Award that honors a female Garrett County High School student who has contributed to the school and community and shows promise for endeavors. We continued that in 2020. Excuse me. We make a small monetary donation to a charity at the choice of that person who receives the award. We generally get those nominations from staff at the high schools, but they could come from the community. We will be posting all of that shortly. Because we were unable to have our Hall of Fame brunch in 2020, we did award the 3 Women's Hall of Fame inductees. Personally, well, 2, Jane Fox and Cindy Downton, and the 3rd award was posthumously awarded to Ruth Keller. And we hope to be able to honor them and hold our 2021 brunch and do all of these awards again. We also, because we didn't have the brunch, we decided to utilize some funding to help sponsor one of the rooms in the Dove Center's new transient housing development, which is important for women in our area. Garrett County Commission for Women continues to be a member of the Maryland Legislative Agenda for Women, commonly known as MLAW. This is a group that gathers support for legislation of particular interest to women. Some of our commission members have attended a meeting, and this year also virtually, reviews pending and proposed legislation, which is then prioritized and placed into action. So we were able to do that. Furthermore, throughout 2020 and into 2021, we have worked to increase our presence in both traditional and social media with numerous articles and posts about topics of interest and concern to women, such as in February's Black History Month, we featured accomplished women during that month. We're doing the same, obviously, in this month for Women's History Month. We're sharing all kinds of events, articles, and information that's going on in our community that is of interest, concern, or helps to address issues involving women. We're now making a push to get more women involved in the political process, starting with local elections and offices, utilizing social media again there. Prior to the last election, national election, we also worked with the local radio station to air several PSAs disseminating some voter information. So we were very pleased with that. As I indicated, the coronavirus has impacted a number of our projects and our goals. We worked with other organizations for what's called GEMS, G-E-M-S, and which is a mentoring group for middle school young ladies. And once the people are allowed back into school and to enter into the school buildings, that will resume, and it's planned to, it's been going on in the northern end for a number of years, hoping to expand to the southern end to help mentor some at-risk middle school aged females. We're hoping to recruit within the education field in Garrett County a little further, although we did recently have someone return to the commission who is associated. We've talked about trying to work with organizations such as Girl Scouts or different organizations that work with STEM to participate with their activities and events, to assist Girl Scouts with things that deal with their badge work that the commission members and our friends and associates have interest and expertise in, and to help develop their career aptitudes. We're going to memorialize one or more of our former commissioners who have since passed, beginning with Commissioner Susan Athey. We're hoping to get into the community ourselves to do some hands-on volunteer work as a group for some increased visibility and emphasis on what women can accomplish, and also with that to perhaps do some drive for supplies for organizations in our community. And then finally, we're hoping to play some role in the schools with either job shadowing or placing interested young ladies with someone in the community who works in a field in which they show an interest, and to participate in some of the upcoming job fairs and career days in some of our educational areas. So that's what we've been doing. That's where we're hoping to go, like everyone else, when things quote unquote get back to normal. So subject to any questions from the commissioners, again, I want to thank you for having us. Thank you for issuing that proclamation. And I want to also thank you for being out and about in the community recently to participate in a couple other events that support women's issues.
Well, I will make sure that you guys get this proclamation, and just personally thank all 4 of you on the screen and everyone else affiliated with your group for all that you're doing for young women and really the whole community. As the father of 4 daughters, on behalf of them, thank you very much.
You're welcome. We appreciate doing it, and we're glad when we can show some accomplishments. Have a good day and evening, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Knoll, if you can see that they received that.
Yes, sir, I will.
Okay, moving right along. Next item on the agenda is a request for county property tax abatement from the Appleton Community Association. Mr. Knoll, what do you have for us?
Yes, sir. This is the annual request from Appleton Community Association for the abatement of taxes for fiscal year 2022. This particular Request for abatement is actually in the state code, Maryland Tax Code, section 9313.
And we do this every year.
We
They
do this
request every year.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Knoll? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the Appleton Community Association's request for county property tax abatement?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion, a second. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is several different board appointments. I think we can take all of these as one slate unless there are questions as we go. Mr. Knoll, what do you have for us?
Yes, sir. The first one is reappointments to the Garrett County Planning Commission. These particular openings were advertised on the website. We have interest from 3 current members to be reappointed for a 5-year term, and those are Tony Durr, Jeff Messinger, and William Weisgerber.
Any questions on that? What else do we have?
Okay. The next one is for the Garrett Trails Advisory Committee. So the first one is a ratification of reappointment of current members. So these were advisory committee for the appointed by the commissioners. Again, these were named by or requested by Garrett Trails. We have Jim Heimbaugh, David Cotton, Kim Folk, Mark Weber, Dave Ritchie, Luke Mongrain, and Sean Nolan, I'm sorry. And then there's a new member recommendation from Garrett Trails, and that's Joe Rogers from the Maryland Department of Planning.
Any questions on that? And all of these people willing to serve?
Yes, sir.
And how about the last one?
And the last one is an appointment under Commissioner Edwards' appointee to the Garrett Regional Medical Center Board. Dr. Carl Swam currently serves on the board as an at-large member, and the recommendation the request is to move him to a designee of Commissioner Edwards to the board.
Any questions on any of those recommendations? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the slate of appointments to the Garrett County Planning Commission, Garrett Trails Advisory Committee, and the Garrett Regional Medical Center?
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion, a second. Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Garrett County Purchasing Department, some bid awards. Looks like we have 2 of them. Mr. Knoll, what do we have here?
Yes, sir. We have 2 bids. The first one is bid number 21-0204, Health Center Roof Replacement. 7 bids were received. Vertex Roofing in the amount of $131,418. Thomas & Thomas Builders in the amount of $159,938. D Products Incorporated in the amount of $161,000. RPM LLC in the amount of $165,330. Rough Roofing in the amount of $206,000. AEI Builders in the amount of $217,600, and Height Associates in the amount of $266,000. The Purchase Department is recommending awarding the bid to the apparent low bidder, Vertex Roofing Contractors, in the amount of $131,418. The county had budgeted $152,000 for this project.
All right, are any questions on the health center roof replacement? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and do we'll do them both. So go ahead and go over the next one.
The second one is bid number 21-0211, Courthouse Exterior Painting. We received 6 bids. Titan Industrial Services in the amount of $54,200. Holman Painting in the amount of $59,635. Colossal Contractors in the amount of $79,839. Eastwood Painting and Contracting in the amount of $84,400. EARN Contractors in the amount of $96,500. And Commercial Industrial Applications in the amount of $159,113. The purchasing department has recommended that the bid be awarded to the apparent low bidder, Titan Industrial Services, in the amount of $54,200. We had budgeted $100,000 for this project.
All right, are there any questions on the bid for the courthouse exterior paint? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept bid number 21-0204 for the health center roof replacement to Vertex Roofing Contractors, and bid number 21-0211 for courthouse exterior painting to Titan Industrial Services for $54,200 as recommended by the purchasing department?
Motion to accept both bids.
All right, we have a motion to accept both bids. We have a second.
Second.
Motion is second. Question on motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. That brings us to conclusion, the action item of our agenda, a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I would like to announce that the courthouse will be reopening following suit of many other places. Obviously, COVID had shut things down. We've always been open by appointment, but we will be reopening even further. And appointments are still highly recommended, just to make sure that whoever you would like to meet with is here, and so on and so forth. But that will be happening, and we'll get a press release out on that as well. But that's one announcement. Another announcement is on top of that reopening, our meetings, public meetings will be reopened to the public, starting with our next meeting, which will be on Tuesday, March the 16th. Obviously, we have to follow all of the governor's guidelines, and that includes operating at 50% capacity here, which is going to be about 15 people, give or take. There'll be a press release a little bit more detailed than that once we can really analyze it and get it out to people. It'll be open on a first come, first served basis. You'll have to come through the main entrance in the front of the building. And once we're at capacity, it'll just be shut off, and there'll be no more access to the room. Any public comment or questions will have to be a sign up for. We will continue to record and broadcast the meetings. Therefore, there'll be some changes to the way we do public comment. All that will be detailed, but you'll have to sign up and then come up front and speak so that the camera can capture you as we do that. And if someone would want to meet with us face to face and not be able to get in a public meeting or whatever, you can always make an appointment. We'll do that as well, trying to make sure everyone has access and can get what they need from us. But like I said, the public meetings will be open back to the public starting on March 16th, first come, first serve. Somewhere between 12 and 15 visitors will be allowed for that, first come, first serve. And again, meetings will continue to be broadcast as they are right now to provide as much access as possible. We also still have the comment email address, GC Comments, open and available. We did receive one question from last meeting to this meeting, and it was in relation to House Bill 655, which is a bill for county commissioner elections for district voting. What this bill would do would require the 5 counties that have a commissioner style system of government like we do, that do their elections via district, that have their commissioners elected by district would require that only the people in that district vote for the commissioner representing that district. Obviously, as you all are aware, the way our county is set up, we are elected by district to guarantee geographic diversity in regard to the representation of the county. However, those elections are countywide. So even though I represent the northern part of the county in District 2, people in District 1 and 3 still have the opportunity to vote for or against me in any election. The same with Commissioner Heimball, same with Commissioner Kitchenell. It's been that way since this county was formed. This would change that so that, again, my district, District 2, only people in District 2 would vote for the representative from District 2, and the people that live in District 2 would have no say in who represents them, represents the county from District 1 or District 3. This group of county commissioners did send a letter in opposition to that bill. I'll speak personally for me and then see if I think the others have some comments on this. I'm adamantly opposed to this bill, basically on philosophical grounds. When we formed our county a long time ago, we had to file a charter with the state to say how we were going to govern ourselves. That charter had to be approved by the state, and in that charter it said exactly how we were going to do things. I think our forefathers deserve some credit because, in my opinion, the way they did it to guarantee geographic diversity, meaning that we'll never have 3 commissioners from Grantsville or Friendsville or Oakland, which obviously could create an issue if all they wanted to do was just support that particular area or town of the county. We are geographically diverse, but because we make decisions that impact the county at large, the whole county has an opportunity to have a say in who represents them. I believe this bill flies in the face of federalism, which is what this country was formed upon. It's the only reason the country exists, because the states weren't going to come together if they were ruled by an overwhelming federal government. So the states had their own powers, and the counties and the states were derived the same way. They formed their own geopolitical units based on their own charters the local people adopted that they wanted to be governed under a certain way. It was approved by the state, and for the state to be able to just come in now and arbitrarily change that opens a can of worms that they can do that for anything that they want to do. I don't believe personally that people that live on the Eastern Shore or in Baltimore City or Montgomery County should have a say in how we govern ourselves here under the Maryland Constitution that allowed us to set our own government up to begin with. And that's why I'm opposed to this bill. I personally think it's unconstitutional. And I think if the people of Garrett County want to change the way that they elect their commissioners, they have a constitutionally guaranteed way to do that through referendum that we can choose to do on our own. So that is why I'm opposed to it, and I'll defer to my fellow commissioners for their opinion.
Thanks, Paul. Just real quick, as Commissioner Edwards said, this affects 5 counties. This legislation isn't being proposed because the current system we have doesn't work. There's some political motivation for this, that with a goal in one of those 5 counties. But my concern is, and Commissioner Edwards touched on this, that this could potentially fracture the working relationship that the board has. Right now, we all get along real well. We're elected at large by the whole county. In my district, District 3, if I'm only elected by the people in District 3, then I think I could, if you're not real careful, you could find that commissioner looking out for District 3 and maybe trying to get as much as he or she could for District 3 versus maybe doing what's best overall for the county. The Maryland Association of Counties is opposing this bill. Delegate Beitzel testified against the bill and did an excellent job of representing our interests. So our thanks goes to him. We're told at this point that there is no companion bill in the Senate. So if this bill passes the House, which it may, then it'll go to a conference committee or go back to the Senate for negotiation. But there's about a 50-50 chance it'll pass right now, we're being told. So it's not in our interest. And as Commissioner Edwards said, if a county wants to go to this method of election of its county commissioners, it can do that. There have been counties that have had referendums on this very issue. And so there are other ways to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish without dragging the rest of us through this. So.
Well, Paul and Jim's pretty well put it in perspective for you, I think. And my opinion is I totally am against this bill. I was elected to represent the people of Garrett County and not just the people of District 1. And as Jim said, I think it could lead to a lot of diversity against with 3 commissioners. If the only thing I was looking out for was District 1 and the only thing the other 2 was looking out for was the other 2 districts. So I think it would just lead to a lot of adversity amongst the commissioners. Maybe not so much this group, but if you look further down the line, I think it could. And so, like I said, I'm elected to represent the county, not just one district, and that's the reason I'm opposed to it.
All right, anybody have anything else for the good of the order? And once again, a press release will go out in the reopening of the courthouse in a public meeting. So more to come on that. In our next meeting, we'll have the opportunity to have people attend if they're so inclined. And we will continue to utilize the technology that we've employed during COVID to continue to meet that need as well. So if there are no other comments or questions, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.